Hey friends, I'm Amy, and today we're making two flavors of Danish pastries, strawberry and lemon blueberry. But we're not using store-bought puff pastry. Oh no, we're making our own for this because why not? We're also making the really cool braided kind, which is so much fun and it looks so fancy. It's like you're sitting at a little table in one of those Roaring Twenties sidewalk cafes in New York, having a Danish, sipping an espresso, and everybody's wearing fancy hats and they're holding those super long cigarette holders. Yeah, it's gonna be fancy, so let's get cooking. We're starting with the dough, and I'll be upfront, this dough takes 2 days to make, but most of it is just the dough, just hanging out in the fridge. The actual work is minimal, and it's really easy stuff. To start, we need a half cup of butter or 2 sticks. You want these to be very cold, and I pull these directly out of the fridge. You can cut them up in small pieces if you want, but I've found that grating the butter works so much better in pastry type doughs and pie crusts. Grate both sticks of butter into a large bowl and then put the bowl back into the fridge. Don't pat the butter down or anything, just keep it in like a loose fluffy pile. While the butter is chilling, measure out 1/3 cup of sugar in a little bowl. I know it seems weird, but it's easier to just have the sugar already measured out. Next, pour a half cup of whole milk into a measuring cup or a bowl and heat it until it's between 105 and 110 degrees, because that'll make the yeast happy. Scoop out 1 tablespoon of sugar from that 1/3 cup we measured out earlier and add that to the warm milk. Then add 1 packet or 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Stir everything up until the sugar and the yeast have melted into the milk, and set this in a warm spot in your kitchen for 5 to 10 minutes until the yeast gets foamy. If the yeast never gets foamy, unfortunately, that means the yeast is not active and we'll need to start over with new yeast. When the yeast is foamy and it's ready to go, pull the grated butter out of the fridge, but we do have a couple of things to add before that yeast. Add 3 cups of all-purpose flour to the bowl. Add the rest of the sugar we measured out earlier and a half teaspoon of salt, and gently toss this around a little until the butter is coated in the flour and the sugar and salt are mixed in. Now use a pastry cutter or a fork or even clean hands to work the butter into the flour until the dough resembles those little red or green lentils, about that size. If you do use your hands though, you'll want to move quickly so your body heat doesn't start melting the butter, because this does need to stay cold. I started with my hand and then I moved to a fork to break up the butter shreds a little better. When the butter is melted into the flour, make a little well in the center of the bowl and pour in the yeast mixture. Add in another half cup of cold milk and 1 beaten egg. Stir everything up until it comes together in a very sticky and rough dough. You really won't be able to handle it or work with it at all at this point, but we don't need to handle it for quite a while yet. When the dough looks like this, nice and rough and sticky, pop a lid on the bowl or cover it with plastic wrap and chill this in the refrigerator for at least 8 hours and up to 24 hours. Okay, hi from tomorrow. Now it's time to roll out and fold our dough, because pastry dough needs to have those delicious layers. Turn the dough onto a floured surface, and you want enough flour to keep it from sticking to the counter, but not so much that the dough incorporates a bunch more flour and ends up dry. Start by shaping the dough into a rough rectangle by hand, just to get that rough shape, and then roll it out until it is a big rectangle about 1/4 inch thick. This first time it should be really easy to roll out since the dough has had lots of time to relax. For the folding, you want to fold it in thirds, kind of like a bill you get in the mail. Then roll it out again to 1/4 inch and fold it again. Do this a total of 4 times, so roll it out, fold it over, roll it out, fold it over, etc. As you go, the dough is going to start to tighten up and lose a lot of its stickiness, and on your 4th roll, you may even have a tough time getting it out to 1/4 inch, but that's exactly what we want. When you've done all 4 roll and folds, wrap the folded dough loosely with plastic wrap and pop it back in the fridge for 1 to 2 hours again to keep it nice and cold. It'll allow the dough to relax and to keep that butter solid. Just before starting on the filling, preheat the oven to 375 degrees and line 2 baking sheets with parchment paper. Okay, about 10 minutes before the dough is ready to come out, it's time for our fillings. Now for the fruit, there's two ways you can do this. You can make your own jam, which we would have needed to start just after putting the dough back in the fridge, or you can buy it. I'm using store-bought jam this time since I have it, and I am all about shopping my pantry shelves to make delicious meals. But we do need to whip up our cream cheese filling though. In a medium to large-ish bowl, we need 8 ounces or 1 block of softened cream cheese. Add in a 1/4 cup of sugar and beat these together with a hand mixer for about 2 minutes until they're combined and fluffy and creamy. Add in 1 egg, yolk only, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a teaspoon of lemon juice. Beat everything up again with the hand mixer until it's all combined and the filling is creamy and beautiful. And that's it for the cream cheese filling. Time to pull our dough out of the fridge, and we're gonna cut this large dough chunk in half so we can make 2 pastries. Roll each rectangle out until it's about 1/4 inch again, and then place each rectangle on a baking sheet. Spread about half of that cream cheese filling on each rectangle in the center third of the dough, but make sure to leave the sides bare, as well as a little border on the top and the bottom to prevent leaking. Spoon some preserves or jam, whatever flavors are your favorite, in the center of the cream cheese filling, but don't cover it completely. Just put like a somewhat generous line of jam down the middle of the cream cheese. Now for the braiding. Using a sharp knife, cut little tails or strips down the sides of the dough and try to make them a somewhat even thickness and the same number of strips on each side. I went with roughly finger width and that ended up working beautifully. Then fold each strip over in a little diagonal across the filling, alternating each side. Make sure to overlap that prior strip so the ends of the strips are covered by the next strip down in the row. So we're not really actually braiding anything, we're just making it look like we're braiding it. When all the strips are folded over, the Danish should look like this. Last, crack an egg in a small container, add about 1 tablespoon of water to it and whisk that up. Brush this egg wash on all of the exposed dough, tops, sides. Make sure to get a nice thin film of egg wash everywhere on the pastry. This is going to help our pastries to turn a beautiful golden color in the oven. But if you miss a spot, you'll be able to see it because it'll be noticeably lighter. Bake these at 375 for 20 to 25 minutes or until the dough is puffed and a nice golden brown. While those are baking, we need to whip up some glaze. Now we have 2 different flavors of Danish, so we need 2 different glazes, but these can be made all at the same time and they're really simple. Grab 2 bowls or cups like this and add 1 cup of powdered sugar to each one. I'm using a 1/2 cup measuring cup here since it fits better in my powdered sugar jar. In the first cup, start with a tablespoon of lemon juice and a pinch of lemon zest. To the second cup, start with a tablespoon of just regular milk. Stir that first glaze until the sugar starts melting into the juice. Now this is pretty thick and we need this to be able to drizzle, so add very small bits of lemon juice and stir until you have a lovely drizzly glaze. This is going to be our lemon glaze for the blueberry lemon Danish. For the second, do the same thing but with milk. Stir the initial tablespoon in and then stir in little bits of milk until you have a nice drizzly sugar glaze for our strawberry Danish. Then just set these to the side to wait for our pastries. Our Danishes are done and look at how beautiful these are. Okay, the blueberry one opened a little, but I don't mind that at all since these look and smell delightful. Now, before we can stuff our faces, these do need to cool because trying to glaze these right now would be completely counterproductive. That glaze is just gonna melt right off. So very carefully remove the pastries from the baking sheets using the parchment paper like a hammock and set them on a counter or a cutting board, just anywhere big enough for them to sit and cool that's not the hot baking sheets. When they're cooled, drizzle that lemon glaze on the blueberry Danish until you're happy with the icing coverage. For me, that's a lot of glaze because it's just not right unless I'm having a little bit of pastry with my glaze. Then drizzle the regular sugar glaze on the strawberry Danish until that one is perfect too. I know I have a glaze ratio issue, but check these out. How cool are these pastries? They're beautiful and so fancy. It's like a bakery in my kitchen, and these were really easy to make. Even the pastry dough was easy to make, and look at how fluffy and puffed it is. I like to serve fruity desserts and pastries like this with some fresh fruit, just for that contrast to that sweet baked dessert and the mild tartness of the fresh fruit. Plus, we wanted fancy schmancy, and wow, does this look fancy. There's jazz and ragtime floating on the breeze, and now I have to go get myself a flapper hat with ribbons and a big silk flower so I can eat these in style. And let me tell you, these taste amazing. The cream cheese is creamy and cheesy, and the pastry is light and buttery and beautiful. And they were so much easier to make than I thought. This one is a win-win all around. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please like and subscribe, leave me a comment below. I love reading and responding to comments, and I would love to talk to you about what we're making or get your suggestions and tips. Come and hang out with me on Wednesdays too, because we're making all of our favorite restaurant, takeout, and fast foods at home for a fraction of the cost, and they're turning out even better than the originals. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here next Sunday for another comforting, cozy, home-cooked meal. Bye.